Xbox is locking down huge AAA games for Xbox Game Pass, along with new Lucasfilm's games for the Xbox Series X. There's a lot of information going around regarding Xbox, and I'm going to break it all down right now. Let's get into it. Hey, what's going on everyone? Thanks for stopping by and checking out the video. Remember to hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support is greatly appreciated. And also hit that bell icon to be notified when my next video drops. But enough of that, let's get into this pretty amazing information when it comes to Xbox and what their plans are for the rest of this year. We have rumors and leaks flowing all over the place when it comes to Xbox and what they're putting their money towards. We have a brand new Lucasfilm's game outside of Indiana Jones, and we also have massive third-party games coming to Xbox Game Pass at the end of the year. Now, usually I tell people to temper expectations, and I'll still say to do that again. But after seeing Outlanders, MLB The Show 21, and of course the rumors of Resident Evil Village coming to Game Pass, and Sony blocking that, I have to say that I don't think any game is out of the question when it comes to joining Xbox Game Pass day and date. And that's exactly the first topic I want to jump into, which is the big third-party games that might be coming to Xbox Game Pass later this year. Here's what the article in Rumor Mill is talking about. Persona, Battlefield 6, and more to Game Pass. Following on from the theme of Microsoft doubling down on Japanese games, there's still one glaring gap in the Xbox portfolio in this regard, namely Persona, the legendary JRPG franchise that arbitrarily passes Xbox by in similar fashion to Yakuza and Dragon Quest of yesteryear. During a Q&A session a while ago, Xbox lead Phil Spencer said, "I hear you," when a fan called out to get Persona on Xbox. Since then, I have personally heard that Microsoft is indeed working towards achieving this goal, backed by data from the success of Yakuza hitting Xbox Game Pass. A Twitter account dedicated to game leaks also tweeted the same recently, noting that Persona 5 Royale was coming to Xbox Game Pass and PC. Okay, so the first thing I want to point out is that for several years, Xbox has had a couple of major gaps when it comes to games on their platform. One of those gaps was the Japanese developed games that opted to skip Xbox and concentrate on the PlayStation platform. But from the looks of it, Xbox and Phil Spencer have really tried to bridge that gap between the developers and Xbox. And one of the most popular games in the industry for those types of games is Persona. And it would seem that Xbox not only sees this gap, but they understand that they have to get people to play the game and show the developers that there is a market for those types of games on the Xbox platform. And the best way to do that is by putting the game on Game Pass so gamers who haven't played the game can get a taste of what Persona 5 is. But what's even more intriguing is that this might not just come to Xbox Game Pass, but it could also come to Game Pass on PC. That to me would stretch the reach of the game to millions upon millions of potential gamers. And that's the power Xbox has in their corner. They're able to reach so many other gamers that these developers never really dreamed of. So when we hear that Persona 5 is coming to Game Pass, it's a pretty big milestone to Xbox. But now let's move on to the next big leak that Ed talked about. If you don't know Ed, he's a pretty amazing insider that has gotten a lot of things right when it comes to Xbox. Their information goes pretty far and wide, so when they say there's going to be a big game joining Xbox Game Pass at the end of the year, we can pretty much expect that to happen. Here's what the article says and what the insider has to say. Additionally, Ed chimed in on the Xbox Era podcast discussing the recent additions of Outriders into Xbox Game Pass. Outriders might be the first AAA launch into Game Pass, but it's not going to be the last. Here's what I can say. There's a certain third-party AAA first-person shooter that is highly likely to be launching in Game Pass this fall. Okay, let's stop right there because this is such a messed up tease because you know that everyone is wondering what the game is. Even I'm a little excited because the first game that instantly comes to my mind when we talk about third-party AAA is Battlefield or COD in the first-person realms. And it would seem I'm not the only one that thinks that way, as the article directly mentions Battlefield and EA. Here's what the article had to say. Given Microsoft's partnership with EA, it seems more than likely to me that this could be Battlefield, and the podcast certainly hints as much. Call of Duty sells ridiculous amounts regardless and already has a free-to-play component in Warzone. Battlefield 5 arguably eroded the brand a bit, and slapping the game into a free-to-play-like environment via Xbox Game Pass could be a good way to reinvigorate the Battlefield franchise, deliver it to audiences, and potentially make a ton of cash on the upsell of in-game purchases on the side. So I have to admit, the first game that came to mind was Battlefield because EA Play is on Game Pass at no extra charge to the gamers, and we can obviously see that EA and Xbox have an amazing relationship. So when we think about Battlefield joining Xbox Game Pass day and date, that could be a huge get, and I mean a huge get for Xbox, because EA has said that this Battlefield will have a lot of next generation features attached to it, and they aren't going to show it until it's ready to go. And from the looks of everything being talked about, that might be this summer. And it could be announced that it's going to be going to Game Pass as well. But the one detail I think everyone is forgetting about is that there's been a lot of very viable rumors suggesting that the new COD this year isn't in the best shape, and that Activision is going to release a remake or a remaster of an older version of COD. If this is true, then I believe that the two major first-person shooters releasing this year are going to be Halo Infinite and Battlefield. Don't get me wrong, COD of course is going to sell its copies because it's COD. And from the looks of it, those two major releases, Halo and Battlefield, are going to be on Xbox Game Pass day and date. Halo Infinite we know for sure will be there because it's an Xbox first-party game. Yet if the leaks and rumors are true, Battlefield could also join Master Chief in Game Pass. That would be a huge hit to the other platforms that have Battlefield, especially if gamers look at Game Pass and they only have to pay $10 a month, while others have to pay $60 or $70 for one game. Talk about an advantage that Xbox is trying to push down Sony's throat, and it's something that the article mentions right here. I've certainly heard similar to Ed that Microsoft isn't backing down when it comes to big-name third-party day one Xbox Game Pass titles. Landing MLB The Show and Outriders recently put a big dent in Sony's image, which offers those games for $70 rather than on a $10 per month basis. Outlets like Kotaku and Forbes, which I don't think it's unfair to say are often very critical of Xbox, wrote some quite positive remarks about the value Microsoft is delivering with Game Pass. The opportunity here is quite obvious. Hit PlayStation where it really hurts, value perception, and solidify Xbox Game Pass's place as the premier service early on before competitors can react. Microsoft has hundreds of millions of dollars per month coming in via Xbox Game Pass to play with, and it's certainly not shy to invest the majority of that right back into the service. And I've talked about this multiple times. Xbox has shown this generation that they have the best value in gaming along with the best piece of hardware. And for them to come in at $500 for the console, which is the same as the PS5's price, and to also provide massive games at a better price, shows that Xbox found a way to combat the last generation insurgents of the PS4. It's that they'll make the Xbox platform the best value for all gamers no matter what. And with all these AAA games coming to Game Pass, that will continue, especially the third-party games, which brings me to this next huge rumor of Xbox and another Lucasfilm games, yet another AAA game in development. This comes from ACG and Maddie Plays, who have a pretty awesome podcast on Last Stand Media. In the podcast, he says that Xbox has another game in development from Lucasfilms outside of Indiana Jones. And he also goes on to say that this is a play for Xbox to lock down Star Wars or Lucasfilms games IPs, much like Sony has their exclusive Spider-Man rights and are leveraging that for their PlayStation platform. And to me, it's interesting he says this, because for a very, very long time, me along with every other Xbox fan out there have said that Xbox needs something like a Spider-Man to compete with Sony. And it's great knowing that Xbox might have seen that also and decided to lock down some big games and IPs to be on Xbox. This is a huge play that we probably won't see play out for some time now, but it's great to know that Xbox is investing in massive IPs that can compete with the likes of Spider-Man. It's something that me, along with other Xbox community members, have talked about extensively. But let's hope this happens, along with all these other games coming to Game Pass, because what we're seeing from Xbox is completely different from what we're used to. Last generation was a bump in the road for Xbox, and they kind of got off course. But this generation, they have completely gotten on track, and it looks like they've continued to push the boundaries of this generation's consoles, along with changing the whole gaming landscape with Game Pass. As gamers, we should be excited to see what happens in the coming years for not only Xbox, but Sony's PlayStation 5. But enough of what I think about all of this, tell me what you think about all of this. Will you play Persona 5 if it's on Game Pass? Would you be surprised to see Battlefield day and date on Xbox Game Pass? What other games do you want to see on the service? Will this hurt Sony's PlayStation 5 if all those games join day and date on Game Pass? What else can Sony do to combat this momentum that Xbox has built? Will we see other major third-party games join Xbox? Go down below and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support helps out the channel more than you know. And give me a follow on Twitter at Zocker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my latest videos. Plus, I love interacting with everyone there, so get on Twitter and let's talk about gaming. Also, follow me on Xbox Live. My gamertag is Zocker87, just like my channel name. See what games I'm playing, and let's compete in achievements for the month. So right now, I'm of course playing Outriders still. I'm going through the expeditions, doing the end game, getting gear, getting different mods. I'm enjoying the game a lot. Me and my buddies are having such a great time with it. It's so extensive, and I love the mods where you can actually mod your gear and your guns. So it really does give you a lot of combos when you're playing with your friends, and you're trying to get the best time in the expeditions to get even better gear. So yeah, it's kind of Diablo-esque with rifts, but again, I'm enjoying it because it's a third-person shooter, and I think Gears of War can learn a lot from this. Expand the game a little bit more, give us abilities, give us a lot more fluid movement, and I think this could actually be a really good thing for Gears of War. Every time I play Outriders, I just want to play Gears of War right after. So yeah, that's what I've been playing, and I'm going to be playing Returnal because that's coming out on PS5, and it's the only game coming out on PS5 for the last several months that I actually want to play on there. So I'm going to be jumping in on that and playing that. But let me know what you're playing. Are you playing anything on your PS5, your Xbox? Go down below because I want to talk about games and the games you're playing. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.